Very good afternoon, everyone. I warmly welcome you all to this second technical session of this Homeland Security Summit. We have two additional sessions. After that, we'll have valedictory session. Our first panelist is Major Paul Devassy, CEO, IIRIS Knowledge. So please take your turn, sir.
So first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity of coming here and being in Manipur, being in Manipur and being in Imphal, very beautiful city. It's my honor and pleasure to be here, and thanks to Homeland Security for hosting us. So we are at this very important thing of reimagining security in the changing world. So what does it show? Earlier, way back, so I started off, I was in the army way back in 1992 to 98, and after that, I started off working in the corporate sector from 99. So the way security used to be done at that point of time and the way security is being done today is two different things. The classical example is normally in the security world, if you're going to come in, there are lots of certifications to be done. So one of the prime certifications that people aspire to do is something called CVP. So these days CVP is important, but the way life is changing, the way things are moving away, there's a whole lot of push and pressure towards the InfoSec and cybersecurity world. It is very important for us to understand that. So it's not expected that you as or we as security professionals need to be able to do coding, but it's very important for us to understand how to use AI and large LLM tools. If you don't do that, then we will get left behind. So earlier what used to happen was that the security people used to be known by their height, weight, size. That they have to be tall, broad and big. So I am from the older world, so now become a little more fat. But otherwise, so it was that way which is required. But now, more than that, you've got to start using your brains. There's something called risk assessment which has to be done. There's something called risk forecasting that has to be done. There is something called risk analysis that has to be done. Geopolitics is required to be understood. I was working in a multinational company, and at that point of time, Osama bin Laden got killed. So Osama bin Laden got killed in Pakistan. So what effect would it have on India? But we had our expats who were traveling to different places. So it was important for me to inform them that such a thing has happened, and we may have to keep that context in mind when you're going to be traveling to different places. So it's important for us to understand the context. The coup which happened in Bangladesh, did it have impact on India? Yes, it has. In fact, very, what should I say, small information which is there. The coup in Bangladesh impacted the tomato crop in Karnataka. Why? The tomato used to get exported from Karnataka to Bangladesh. And because of the coup, they stopped the inter-border trade. So why I am telling you that is, it is so interconnected. So as a security person, if you're going to think that, okay, you know what, this is my hotel, this is my organization, this is my office, or this is my district, well, you're going to ask for trouble. And so we have also to understand, Manipur is facing what should I say? It is bordering a foreign country. And all of us know the amount of problems which are happening in the neighboring country. Is it, can we ignore that? Can the state ignore that? Can you as an individual ignore that? Well, if you ignore that, it's going to have problems. All of us, I would not like to go back into the stuff which has happened over the past couple of years. There has been impact on all of us, and how we understand that. So why I'm telling you all that is, holistic way of understanding security is very important. Otherwise, you will not get the next job. Otherwise, you may lose your job. It's very important for us to understand what is happening around us. And like the previous panel had said, that collaborating. During the security people were fast masters in collaboration, because the problems that I had, he was also having the same problem. So using resources of each other, during the floods of Chennai, which happened many years back, we could collaborate with each other. My truck is going there, or your truck is going there, can you go and deliver something? Can the hotel deliver something? Can you help something? So, more than once you become a security professional, you become adept at your craft by the way you collaborate, by the way you understand the tools at your disposal, by the way you understand the holistic view of your organization. And as always, we have got to be a business enabler. Earlier, during my time, security people were known to say no. I've understood that saying no does not help you in life. You have to say yes, but with different conditions on how that yes can be helpful for the organization. Thank you, sir.
This was shorter than 10.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Paul Devassy, CEO, IIRIS Knowledge, for your wonderful presentation. Now, may I invite Shri, Hervirender Pal Singh, Head Global Security Operations, India and the Middle East, Walt Disney Company, to present your paper.
Thank you, sir. So I'll again pick up the same thing, which it's basically going to be the same themes what Paul has talked about. So I think so the world is changing and our mindset has to change. Security mindset have to change. Our security mindset was always protective. Now we need to move to resiliency. We need to move on agility, and we also need to move on trust. Because these are the three new factors that you need to look into working in this environment or volatile environment. Because if you do not trust your other partners, such as from HR or work with IT, do not have that collaboration, obviously you will be left behind. For example, you have geopolitical issues, you have got insider risk. For insider risk, you need to really collaborate with your IT, you need to really collaborate with your HR, because yes, to find the insider, you need to work with them very closely. For example, like Paul said about COVID-19, nobody expected 5 years before what COVID-19 was, and what it did was transformed our thoughts, how we can work collectively, private-public partnership. Their hotels were being used as, isolation centers. That was one of the initiatives, which was public and private partnership. So it gives you the importance. Similarly, companies were able to, work on resiliency or business continuity. Hotels were made as, I would say, zones which were called as protected zones, where their employees would stay and work from there. And we used to call them as biosecure bubble. So what was happening was in that, as an example, you had employees who were staying in the hotels, who were required for operations, be it kitchen, be it housekeeping, be it from security, and you had guests, and they were set on a certain floor. And on that certain floor, only those people will go. And they were tested every 5 days for COVID-19. Since they are not going outside the hotel premises, so getting them infection was not there. So those biosecure bubbles help the business to continue. Rather than going to the office, the people who are staying in the hotels. So this is something as an example where the change happened. The security changed into a different way of doing things, where we brought in resiliency, we brought in business continuity. Nowadays, in every single corporate office or majority of corporate office, you have security, you have business resilience, and you have business continuity and recovery. So these departments work very cohesively in together, because nowadays you never know what will happen. Recently you had a situation in Nepal, and this was again asymmetric risk. It was few group of individuals who caused the entire 3 days or 4 days or 5 days of entire Nepal coming to a standstill. And with all tourists stuck there, many people traveling had to postpone. So we had to work very closely with our business because there are a lot of expedition that happens, and we had to give them advice accordingly. So you have to really change there. Secondly, on cyber risk, very, very important nowadays. And cyber risk is, I think so India in terms of cyber risk and the cyber incidents that's happened is number 3 in the entire world, number of cyber attacks that happen. So we have to be very, very focused there. I think so. I don't know how many of you know the Colonial Pipeline, cyber attack in 2021 that happened. It brought the entire pipeline to a shutdown. And what was the cause behind it? The cause was one of the employees' password, his personal password, got leaked onto the dark web. From there, the guy picked it up and did an attack onto it was their billing cycle. However, why did that happen? Because the company did not focus on sensitizing the employees to safeguard their passwords, safeguard their data, their PIR. If you are not going to do that, you will be falling behind in terms of getting those cyber risks, because that will your people are your strongest link, but they're also your weakest link. So you have to have that security culture. Today you do not have a security culture. In India specifically, all over, you do not have security. In fact, yesterday night when we were talking with each other and with the Principal Secretary Sir, I said, in India, if your daughter or your son comes to you and asks for a cycle, what do? You bring him or bring her a cycle straight away. Okay, let's go and buy. But that doesn't happen anywhere else. Let's say you go to US or you go to Europe, the first thing the mother and father will do is bring a helmet, a knee guard, an elbow guard. Then send him or her to a coaching center to tell them what are the rules in terms of going on the road. What is the safety precaution that they have to take? In us, we say, take the cycle, go there and learn yourself and come bruised. So that's the kind of culture we have. I think so. We are resilient, but not by choice, by pressure or by default. We become resilient. When the incident happens, we react to it and we become resilient. But then after a certain time, we forget that and we become unresilient again. So that's the challenge with us. So maybe it's because not everybody is a security mindset. I think so. We need to become everybody. There needs to be a curriculum of security in education. I don't think so. Ever in my school or in my college, we had any subject on security. Never ever. When I did my professional courses, I did maybe 10 or 30 years, 20 years before. I'm 60 now. So at the age of 40, I started doing my courses in security. While I joined security way back in 1988. So at that time, I learned everything the hard way. So I think it's important for us to rethink our strategies. We also need to make sure that our leaders put the security function on the top, and they should have a seat on the table. Today, security is not sitting on the table. That means they are not their part of the strategy. They are only at the final delivery point. The moment you put them into strategy, they would say, hey, listen, thank you for your strategy that you're going to come to this business, but we see these risks there. Are we incorporating those risks into your strategy or not? Very, very important. If you do not do that, you will fall short of it. You will see that there are issues and you're not able to reach your goals. So that's very, very important. The tone of the culture in the company. In the company, the culture of security should come in. Everybody should be, we say security is everyone's responsibility. It is not just security's responsibility. Everybody adds to that. See something, say something. If you see something wrong, you say something about it, and not keep it with yourself. If you will keep it with yourself, automatically you will fall short of it. So I think so, in our changing world that we are talking about, which is evolving every day, using of technology, like Amit said, IoT, looking at AI. Nowadays you have various banks who have put in AI for fraud prevention. Why can't we utilize AI and technology to help us to give that information? So I think so very, very important changing our mindset in this regards, and I will stop here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Shri Hervirender Pal Singh, at Global Security Operations India and the Middle East, Walt Disney Company. So I think the message here is we need to think globally, but should act locally. And when we talk of globalization, we need to understand that globalization is not only in goods and services, but globalization of mindset and also threats. Thank you, sir, for your presentation. Now I am coming to Shri Mayanglambam Rajkumar Singh, IIRIS, Deputy Commissioner for West. Please present your paper or speech.
Good evening to all. My regards to the panel chair and the respected panelists on the dais. First of all, I would like to thank the Homeland Security team they have been fervently calling me time and again, at least I should come and join one panel out here. Thank you for providing that opportunity. Since the chair just ended with the tone of globalization and the importance of bringing in security and its perspective towards that fall, let me set out with the from the economics point of view to how we should look our security scenario at present and how we should plan for the present and future. Let me take a cue from the recent Nobel laureates in the field of economics, Joel Mokyr, Philip and Peter. They set out this thing called innovation-driven economic growth in the world. So if we are to see the last 200 years and prior to that and the present scenario, the graph of growth for the last 2000 odd years, prior to last 200 years, has been quite stagnant in nature, not much of a change. If I have a below card, I'm happy with that. And the sun rises and sets, if my tummy is full, we are happy. Then came the industrial revolution and the sort of spinning of everything. And in the last 200 odd years, lots of innovations and the ideas that has been transformed and converted into practicable ones. Because of that, the economy today has been, in the last 200 years, has been growing quite sharply, and today it is rising at a fast pace. In such a scenario, if we are to frame our the security scenario or the security framework in such a changing world, driven again by the economy or we driving that economy, we have to see the propositional nature of the knowledge that is there in the security framework. When I say propositional knowledge, why that particular thing works, why this particular scenario exists. So a propositional nature of a system of that security framework needs to be studied, and that should be planned in such a manner to be translated into a perspective kind of a knowledge. Like the idea of a helicopter by Leonardo da Vinci will remain on paper if that propositional idea was not converted into a perspective one. So we have to scan our security scenario in such a manner that all of our propositional knowledges should be studied, researched, and invested upon so that it can be translated into a perspective one. And this perspective one can again be jot down in such a manner that even in the first discussion we heard a lot about something which is documented in writing and pass it down to the hierarchy. Today as a leader in that particular organization, I may be having that particular idea as to how it works and how I want my team to work. But my second in command might have taken it in something others, might have added his or her own perspective and translated into 90% of what I meant it, 10% of his or her idea. Now when this reaches the last mile, who is going to stand right at the corridor, the idea might have been affected only to the 10% of what the leader have dreamt about for their organization. So some sort of something which is perspective prescribed in the manual is very much essential, and it should be a dynamic one. Now the world is changing. We are talking about evolving threats and evolving mindsets. The ideas that we have to bring forth should be creative, but let us go a bit back in the sense that every creative idea is also destructive in nature. My creative idea will have a hit towards a section in a form of a destruction. So that should not lead to a regression. Instead, the change should be such that whatever regression that the organization might felt or try to go back into the regression mode, instead should be open enough. Let's say, let me use the term society. It can be an organization. Should be open enough to grasp that yes, the methodology that I have been adopting for my system or for my organization is not working. Someone has beaten your hotels have been competing once against another. So my idea and my methodology is not working. Someone has beaten our system. Today I should not feel negative about that. Instead, I should work harder, innovate, be more creative, and try to go 2 steps ahead. So that should be the idea. So when we talk about creativeness and the innovation aspect of the security scenario, we should also understand that we need a lot of research and investment that we have to do in each and every sphere, not just in the hospitality, service sector, whatsoever be the organization. Even in the school curriculum that sir has just pointed out, we need to pump in resources. The volume of R&D should be expanded so that the security framework that we design, which is a dynamic one, should be able to counter the evolving threats that are existing in our world today, and that will obviously be evolving in a fast manner in the days to come. That is the point that I would like to highlight over here. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri Mayanglambam Rajkumar Singh, IS, Deputy Commissioner, Imphal West. Now, may I invite Shri Anil Haorokcham, Secretary, Manipur Chamber of Commerce and Industry, MCCI, to present your skills.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Mr. Chair, and my sincere regards to all my co-panelists, and especially to the Homeland Group for having me here in this special discussions. So I will begin by saying that we are living not completely free from any kind of threats. So threats are constantly evolving and has been existing since past many things. It became a part of the history. So when the civilization goes, threat always exists. So I will be focusing on two parameters of security concern. One would be the cyber security, another would be the physical security. That may also include the geopolitics and geoeconomics, especially of the Northeast region. We all know that security, or a sense of secureness, is nothing but a state, it's a state of mind, or a state where we are free from any kind of threat or risks that may pose destructions, that may pose manipulations, that may hamper our informations, that may hamper our total security system or system as existent. So we need to be very concerned in today's world that how we should be free from threats, that how we should manage the threats, that how we should protect the threats and other security perspectives. But there is one truth, as it has all been accepted by everyone, that threat is inversely proportional to convenience, which is inversely proportional to one another. That means if we are more secure, that means we are more inconvenient. If we are more convenient, then we are part of a compromising in the sense of security. The question is, how do we maneuver between the convenience and the state of security? That is what I think is the evolving mindset of how to give or how to install a sense of security in every part of the system, be it virtual, be it physical, or be it anything. So, as I have said, the threats are always evolving, and the threats are always detected, resolved in time. But the question remains it, are we going to be free from threat in the near future? Or in the future, or in the days to come? The answer is no. Threat will evolve, threat will come, threat will attack, and threat will do anything, unlike whatever precautions we made. The only thing is that, we need to give proper security against all those evolving threats. So, in my opinion, what I understood about the security is that, it's not resolving. It's not about, restoring the destructions that has been done by the threats. The prime factor, the most important thing is preparedness, predictive in nature, that what kind of a threat would be coming in the days to come. So, today is a world of AI, today is a world of machine learning, and today is a world of evolving new technologies. Today we are talking about the technology like AI, machine learning, and tomorrow we may be talking about new technologies which is better than AI or your machine learning. So, what I want to say in this particular juncture is that, the sense of security, as we are trying to provide in any aspect, we need to, learn from the history. We need to learn from the past experience that what kind of threat comes, and what were the nature of the threats, and how is the momentum of the threat in the existing system. So we can learn from different perspectives, as I have said. The only thing is that we need to work on the other side of threat management. So simply, I would say that the security and the threat is nothing but some sort of technology versus technology in nature. That is the one side. And the other side is how you manage your security within your organization, which is more important than the technology versus technology. You kind of take, like Suresh mentioned about the downlining of pipelines. It's an external aggression. Or it may be a espionage within an organization. So if it is an external threat, we have a technology to prevent. We have a technology to restore or everything. But if it is an inside job, if it is an espionage, that would be a harder task to control. So security policies, I think, is much important than the external threat of technology in nature. So this is one parameters from the cyber securities. The other securities measures which I like to talk about is social in nature, a different perspective. The social securities, the securities related with the in the day-to-day life. So what I thought is that the changing geopolitical scene, the changing geo-economic nature, especially towards the regions, we need to look from the different security perspectives. We never knew that 1971 war of Bangladesh would have that much kind of impact in the northeast region, because we don't have the predictive algorithms, we don't have the predictive analysis that time, that this kind of a momentum of effect in the states would be done by all those things. So what I could try to say is that, what I just want to deliver is that, to reach the world of AI, to reach the world of machine learning, so we will be more focusing on the predictive threat management, on the threat that would come in the days to come, so as to prevent from other unwanted things in life. Thank you so much.
Wonderful presentation. Now the time for audience interaction. So we should make this deliberation in more interactive and duets. So if you have any query or any question, please raise your hand. So anyone? If you have any question, or but please be stand. Because we have huge time constraint. No question.
Feels like people are aware.
But our former Prime Minister of India, President of India, once when he met some of the legislators from Meghalaya, Pranab Mukherjee, when he was the President of India, he appealed, made an appeal to the legislature coming from Meghalaya. His appeal is popularly known as 3D. The appeal is, first, please participate in the discussion, debate, and respect dissent views, and take your own decisions. So we want to make it, as I have already told you, more interactive and in two ways, not one way affairs. So if you have at least one question, we'll be very happy.
Last to Paul Saab.
Okay. Mr. Paul Saab, knowledge is there in your company's name. You came from the background of army, military. Information as a tool to use it as a threat, Brigadier Saab is also here. From the national security point of view, information as a tool to use it as a threat. Recently, Mr. Ashley of He is an Indian origin, US official. He has been caught for supplying information, classified informations, particularly to China. To that aspect,
Stealth aircraft.
I'm not very sure.
Stealth aircraft, I think.
Maybe. So some classified informations, we are yet to get full details. So you being from that background, national security point of view, and working in knowledge domain out here, will you please throw some light from your side towards this perspective?
Thank you. I never expected such a question to come to me, but let me try my best. So when I talk about security, the first thing what I speak about is the family. Your home is the most secure place that you live in. So in a normal house, I don't have a access control system, I don't have a security guard, I don't have CCTVs, but still we know what to do. When my children opens the door to somebody, they know how to understand, and they know certain guests are allowed to be certain place and certain guests which are not supposed to be. When I was young, there were lots of discussions which my parents used to have, and I was not privy to it because it is not required for me. So the same thing in today's world. At this point of time, when you are handling a particular job role, so there is certain amount of information that you are carrying. That information is required for you to function in the best possible way. If I'm taking the name of my friend Hervirender, if he's asking for that information and he's not from that department, I should be aware. I should start thinking, why is he asking me that? So the need to know basis is something which people don't understand. We tend to overshare information, especially when you're working in any sort of place which can have any sort of economic impact. It's very important to understand why is that person asking you information. If you don't ask that why, then you end up giving out information. So these days you have heard of so much amount of, there's something called honey trapping. People create profiles of women, and unfortunately men like to talk to women. I mean, I think talking to women is perfectly fine, but giving out information to women while talking is something which is wrong. So men tend to have a loose tongue when they end up talking to a woman, fact of life. So that is something that is required. So I also get these messages that, oh, I am this person, I am that person. So you have to ask, why me? Am I so handsome, or am I so rich, or am I so powerful that an unknown woman or an unknown person would like to talk to me? Well, in my case, it will not happen. So have a reality check for yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. Understand your importance of it. Are you being talked to because of the source of information you are holding? Are you the person being talked to because there is some certain economic benefit the other person is going to get? If it is so, then please understand and please talk less and keep things to yourself. Otherwise, you might end up becoming famous in a very infamous way. I don't know if I answered you.
I think so. Also, I can add here is basically move to a zero trust formula. Nowadays, most of the companies, most of the, I would say, security architectures are moving towards zero trust, where every single access, if I need an access to something, it is being validated by an access manager to say whether do I need to be given that access. Whether it is to a system, whether it is to an information, whether it is to a data set, irrespective whatever. Similarly, checks and balances are very important, because nowadays you can't say, hey, listen, I know him, let him go. That zero trust, factor. So Microsoft nowadays, because of that, keeps on sending you a lot of phishing emails on a zero trust basis, so that you guys will get the habit of it not to click onto those links. So that, I think, so culture needs to come in, so that and specifically for people who are in positions where they have a lot of confidential information, which can be either destructive or constructive for somebody.
So I'd like to say one more thing. So you are the bureaucracy. There is a lot of information that you'll be holding which, if released to the public world, will not be exactly conducive for the state, country. So when this Operation Sindoor happened, so one of my friend, he is Air Marshal in the Air Force. My nephew was deployed at Dwarka, which is at Gujarat. My unit was at a place called Lalgarh Jatta. So I ensured I did not ask him those questions, what happened, how is it? I just, are you okay? They said, yes, we are under control, that's it. When I met my friend who's the Air Marshal, I did not ask him anything about that. He said, you know what, you're the first guy who did not ask me about that. I said, yes, I know that. You cannot say, so why should I embarrass you by telling that? So it's very important when you're holding information. The question is, why does that person need to know that information? If you don't ask that.
So I like to continue, following Rajkumar. Sir, this information is okay. Sometimes it's okay, but this information is very difficult, and social media is playing like anything. So, if you are in national security or whatever, so how will you handle this disinformation if someone is targeting you for a specific thing?
Disinformation. So these days, the information that is coming out, and you've seen deep fakes. Deep fakes are so, what should I say, professionally made. So the core of EME is a branch of the Indian Army, which had its 83rd anniversary some days back. And somebody sent me a video wherein Donald Trump was wishing the Indian EME battalion and the EME regiment a very happy raising day. So I mean, he would not even know what EME is. So when you get information is one part, but your ability to read between the lines, to understand that is very important. Please don't trust social media, because everything works on an algorithm. I like a certain type of, I like exercising, I keep on watching exercising, so I keep getting calisthenics exercise videos coming up in my feed. You watch XYZ, it will come XYZ. So understand that. When you get information, ask some questions, understand. Otherwise, you're going to get into trouble. If you're going to base yourself on 10 minutes or 5 minutes of video reel and try to think that you'll become a PhD scholar, you're going to land up in trouble. And this is very, very important for all people who are in exposed places. What do you mean by exposed? All of us have an exposed position. He is representing an organization. If he stands up on, again I'm taking his name, if he stands up on social media and says that, oh, you know what, this is what I think it is. Tomorrow, Walt Disney will not exactly like what he's saying. So that's why if you saw the first thing what he said is that, all my views, he gave a caveat, all my views are my own individual views. It's very important to understand that. Information, when it appears to be too good to be true, it may not be right. We have to understand that. Otherwise, and especially these days of, if you remember the older, for the younger generation, I don't know if you guys know that, earlier WhatsApp's forwards was, you could keep forwarding it to how many people? Unending amount of people. And then somebody decided that, you know what, this can be used to alter the mindset of people. So then they started releasing it to file. Social media, TikTok now has become a big thing. Why is TikTok such a big thing? Apparently, I went for an international conference wherein they were speaking about the deal between US and China. And one of the things about US is that they want to purchase the TikTok platform. Why do they want to take the TikTok platform? Because TikTok platform is a very youth influencing tool. So they would buy that to influence people by giving information, public disinformation.
And also is very important is like we run very control centers, we have intel analysts, we have people who, look for intel, look for information. And what we do is authenticate that information. Very important that the moment you get an information, do not 100% believe on it first. Check what is the source, is it a 100% credible source? Second is do a due diligence, is to research for the same thing in other platforms and see if you are finding similar things. If you are, then there is a chances of that being true. But if you are not, The majority cases would be, it's a disinformation. You get a lot of fake nowadays. Sorry to say, even using DC's name, many times DC circulars come which are all manipulated. It will not have the right date, it will not have the right name, it will not have the right things which you would be able to pick from seeing it that this is a created fake for us.
Yes.
And that's very important. And rightly said by Paul, is dissemination of that information further should not happen until unless you are satisfied yourself that this is from a right source.
So we are, fall prey to the disinformations so easily. Even people like us who works in the field of IT industry sometimes get confused and falls prey. The biggest challenge is that how we control these disinformations, because many incidents in Manipur during the past 1.5 years has been incited by the disinformations. So we need to have a very
AI is very good tool.
yes. AI becomes good or disguised as another text to be discussed.
It can be either way. It can
So, as a security policy, I think the government of India should have a very strict norms and regulations.
Correct.
Otherwise, it's a tool for spreading anything.
See, Europe has already gone into formulating laws of how and what kind of use of AI needs to go in. And I think so that will also be followed by the other countries. I think so
I think it is better to discuss all the things after the technical session. So, not a single question from the audience means it appears to be turning into a monologue rather than a dialogue. Anyway, all the speakers deserve our heartfelt appreciation. So thank you once again. Thank you to all the participants as well as the speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.